Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Smart Contact Crypto, where smart people come to contact crypto. My name is Jonathan, and welcome. We have a show in store for you today, and I'm excited to dive right in. I hope you caught my H-bar video today that I put out yesterday, put out last night. When I woke up the next morning, 8 hours later, it had almost 50 views. And it almost made me tear up a little bit, those views, as well as some comments, friendly comments. And so anyone who says that this space is toxic, I don't know if they've been in other spaces. I think the crypto space is not that toxic. And so just thanks so much for all of that. Now, as you know, on this channel, I am your rock and roll, politics, journalism, and even some customer service thrown in there guy who is obsessed with cryptocurrency and has been for more than a year now, basically dedicated my last year to it. And I've known so much about it. I've done so much research, dedicated so many hours and so much of my hard-earned money that I realized I know a lot about it, and I want to share this information. I want to keep things in perspective so we can all of us can come together. Crypto is our chance to bring people together. And so that's why I have this channel, and that's why this is going to be another 5 things video where I talk about 5 important things. And so we're going to start off with the market watch. Okay, so it's crazily dumping right now. It's 10:40 p.m. in California, so that means it's well into tomorrow on the East Coast, and things took a nasty turn. Like I was at work, and I looked down, and I was just like, why is everything horribly tanking all of a sudden? And it's because Bitcoin broke 39K. It's back up above 39K right now. It's at $39,109, and but it broke 30. It broke 20. It didn't break 20 yet, thankfully, but it did break the 39K that we were hoping, and so that I think it's going to go down to 37, and I'm hoping that's where the dumping will end. But we will just have to wait and see. Ethereum, it's at 2,861, so also, below 3,000, that psychological level. I know psychological levels as being a point to look at trading is highly contested, but I think it's a thing. I mean, for retail at least. And so let's also take a look at the third one, Luna. It's at $90. It still rose 18% on the week. And so let's continue on here. Well, actually, while I'm here, I do want to mention this really quick. I just noticed. So, whenever it comes to trading crypto or just gauging crypto, looking at the charts, it's usually based on, you can choose any time period, but most people are what I look at, most people, like the short term is 4 hours, and then the 1 day and the 1 week. So, and you see those little lines, like with the candles that people talk about, based on the time difference, based on the time that you choose. If you choose the weekly chart, then every little line is a week, and if you choose a 4-hour chart, every single line is 4 hours, etc. And so right now we're actually up 0.48% on the week with Bitcoin, and again, the week just closed, and so not 100% sideways on the weekly is what it's going to look like. And so it still looks like mainly sideways action. Still in that range. And so let's see what happens with that. Now to dive into the 5 things. What do I have planned for you today? And so the first thing, of course, as you know, if you've been following this channel the past 2 months that it's existed, is Ukraine and Russia. While there is still an enormous conflict, the largest since World War II, going on in Europe, that's going to be what we cover. It's going to affect macroeconomics, it's going to affect the macro political landscape, and it's going to affect this for a long, long time to come. And so that's where we're going to begin. And so one thing that's been getting a lot, and this is why this channel is so important, so please take a moment to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the little bell, subscribe all. comment anything, you like it, you don't like it, the ways it could be improved, ways that it's just too good already. So yeah, go ahead and like that. But now a lot of people have been talking about how, Ukraine banning buying Bitcoin with their Ukrainian currency. They're like, what? Come on, Ukraine. Come on, Zelensky. Don't you know your people want Bitcoin? Don't you know? This is not a normal situation, Like, this isn't like like a country in the European Union having the same debate and then not allowing Bitcoin after allowing it. No, yeah, that's just like, what the heck? But with this situation in an active war, when a tiny country is going up against a huge superpower, they probably need to have their currency stabilized in some way. And so if 100% of Ukrainians are trying to buy Bitcoin, it just adds more instability. And it's not like they banned Bitcoin in any way. They're just not buying it with Ukrainian fiat. And so nothing wrong there. That's the most minimal possible thing that could possibly happen against crypto in Ukraine. I mean, what do you want him to say? We're not accepting any money except Bitcoin? I mean, that is nothing to be anti-Ukraine about. That is the middle of a war and them scrapping to get through it. And so no hate towards Ukraine, nothing anti-crypto about Ukraine not letting people buy crypto with the Ukrainian currency in this active war where millions upon millions of people are evacuating. And so it's a dark and dire situation, and we definitely shouldn't be knocking Ukraine for their crypto policies in the middle of this conflict. And you know what they say, war is never good for democracy, and democracy is necessary for capitalism. And so it's a very delicate balance, and the capitalism ends up doing its best to hinder democracy because a very few people can control all the resources. And if you have all the resources, then you control the governments, And so it's a very delicate balancing act. So another bit of information on that. So it looks like Russia has moved primarily to the south and to the east. They recently bombed the city of Odessa, which I'm not talking about the one in Texas, it's the one in Ukraine. And apparently they bombed it. And again, the fog of war, I can't confirm any of this myself. But there's a lot of reporting going on that they bombed some civilian areas. 8 people were killed in their homes, and one of them was an infant. And so what I think is going to happen with this whole Russia thing, I think what's going to cause the end of it eventually is going to be the Russians in Russia turning against it. And so then if everyone's against him, Putin, if the Russians are against him, the Ukrainians are against him, and all he has left are the anti-US countries secretly backing him, but even the Russians themselves are like, hey, we're done killing, you said the Ukrainians were our brothers, we're done killing them. That's why when we bought in this war a little bit, but it doesn't, so I think the Ukrainians and the Russians are gonna, the actual citizens are gonna become more united, and that's my best guess. Now, I do not know if we will relinquish, or if Ukraine will relinquish some of eastern Ukraine, which apparently is a little more pro-Russian, was a little bit more pro-communism. They might end up taking over that portion, and then and I've talked about this before, hopefully if that does happen, then we can come up with some, maybe let Western Ukraine join NATO. These are ideas that I have. So, Biden, Putin, if you're listening, feel free to take these ideas. Now, let's continue on here. I'm also going to go over France a little bit. So today was the election day of the French presidential elections. The top 2 candidates were the far-right candidate Marie Le Pen, and then the Republican right candidate Macron. So Macron is like the typical American, United States Republican, someone very similar to Joe Biden, somebody who is just kind of a corporation, globalist elite. And Marie Le Pen is also an elite, very rich. Dad was in politics for a long time, and she was called like the Trump of France because she had really strong anti-Islamic stances. She said that she would make it illegal to wear a hijab in public, and so she got a lot of the kind of Trump support for that messaging. Then she started giving a lot of Bernie messaging, just trying to give all the populist views like, hey, we have right-wing populism, we're going to kick out immigrants, we're going to kick out the Muslims, we're going to kick out anyone different than us, because that makes us strong. And then, which in France at least makes some kind of sense. The United States is literally a nation of immigrants, so it makes no sense here. And I don't think it's the right thing for France either, but I don't live in France. I don't follow French politics enough, and I'm not a fan of either of them. There was an article done just 2 days ago, finally, because I'd already been doing my own research, but there was an article that was done specifically about Le Pen and Macron on crypto, and she refused to comment. In the past, she's had anti-crypto stances, and he said, like in a very aloof fashion, which they say he is, that he was like, oh gosh, this bit must be regulated. No, I do not. That's not how he sounds. That's not how he sounds, and that wasn't a great French expression. So yes, Macron is a little bit better for crypto because he says it has to be regulated, but he has nothing against it personally. So if the United States and Biden have a plan and it's going to be pro-crypto, which a lot of people are saying it is, then Macron's going to be the guy. He's not going to be the one throwing a wrench, which was basically Marie Le Pen's entire platform. Like, I'm going to change things, not going to be like how it's been. And she even said that she was going to immediately side with Russia, So yeah, that would be a change if France all of a sudden was just like, hey, you know what? We're with Putin, not the EU. And she openly said that. So I kind of think that should have disqualified her, considering everything else going on in Ukraine that I talked about very recently. But one thing I also wanted to throw in is the third candidate, which is not going to get even close to as much coverage as Le Pen, even though he got the same amount or almost the exact same amount as she did in the preliminary vote that happened 2 weeks ago or a week ago. In their previous, so they have France has an election, and then they have a final election after that. And so in their first election, which happened earlier in the month, they the top, Macron was number one, and then we had Le Pen and Jean-Luc Mélenchon, I think is how you say it. And so he was like a left-wing populist, so kind of like the left-wing person of the people, kind of like the Bernie Sanders of the people. And it's reported he likely would have won with huge numbers and a passionate fan base, though a lot of people compare it to the United States election, where just the far-right candidate was so unpopular that the left is basically willing to vote for a right-wing candidate because that's all we have, And that's, I've heard that so many places, that it's not just me, it's not just NPR, it's which I listen to a lot in the car. And so just keep that in mind. The populism is the future, and I don't think it's going to be, 6-time bankrupt TV clown populism that's a multi-billionaire that claims to be a man of the people. I don't think that's going to be the populism or Le Pen's, political dynasty elites populism. None of this is populism. These people are both master manipulators. That's what they do. Trump, Le Pen, I mean, these people are master manipulators to the max. They are not a person of the people like, say, Bernie Sanders, who grew up poor. That's the real populism that really resonates with people, that doesn't have billions of dollars behind it until the little guy donates. And so that's going to be thing number one. I went over some global politics and how it relates to crypto. Now let's move on to the second thing. And it's going to be to kind of, everyone's been talking about there's one reason why the prices have been dipping, and that reason is Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell. I mean, there was a time when that was true. Maybe the way Jerome Powell did things and said things was the reason the markets would tank. But not this time. Not Jerome Powell coming out and saying, hey, we're going to do another rate hike, and this time it might be 0.5. That is not Jerome. That's not Jerome Powell crushing the market. That's just Jerome Powell having his job and having to say these words. He said it very plainly. He said it it was not overly hawkish. This 0.5 is a tiny amount. I don't want to say it too much, so YouTube, the algorithm says, hey, the people know that that's a tiny amount, so then they raise it a realistic amount, 5% or something, but which then the markets, that's when a bear market's going to come. That's whenever a real bear market's going to come, whenever we're hey, we're done screwing around trying to get, doing 2.25, 0.5. We're about to, do something. And so as long as they're doing 0.5, 0.25, 0.75, as long as it's under a point, I think it's all priced in. And so, okay, and so there's a person yesterday who left me a message saying that I shouldn't be using these because they're bad for my ears. Point taken. Now let's so yes. Jerome Powell said that we were going to raise interest rates in May, likely by 0.5%. It's not his fault, and he said it in the most basic way possible. So if out of all the things that could have made it go up or down, Jerome Powell himself, that one man, isn't it? And 0.5% also isn't it. But that's not to say I love Jerome Powell. He definitely needs to be replaced. I just think the time has come. He didn't stand up to Trump and say, hey, we need to not make inflation go insane. That would have been his time to shine before we're in this giant mess. But at this point, I just think he's in over his head. I think he's just I don't know what to do. And so maybe it's just a fresh set of eyes, especially if it could be someone pro-crypto, because I think crypto is the way out for a lot of these unsolvable problems with money and with democracy and with so many other things. That's why we're here, so we can bring people together with this unprecedented opportunity, not just to make money in crypto, but to make society better, to make money for our children's children. And I don't mean so because I have a Bitcoin and so my children's children are going to have money. I just mean so there's a planet, so there's society. And so pretty short for my second thing. So now we're going to go to the third thing. And it's going to be another kind of just thing that I'm disputing that I hear from other crypto channels. And this is, so Shiba Inu has a metaverse coming out. Shiba Inu is going to be the dog coin, the meme coin that was based off of Dogecoin. Dogecoin has no max supply and is insanely inflationary. I need to do a whole video on Dogecoin. My mind there's a lot to Dogecoin that doesn't get talked about. Huge implications. What Elon Musk thinks about, and that'll be for another day. But Shiba is different because it does have a fixed supply, and so if they burn tokens, then the supply does go down. If people buy it, the supply does go down, and so in theory, even though it's I think it was, somewhat quadrillion tokens that were created, which would be the entire world's economy to get it up to $1, then it is a little better than Doge in that, but it's a better investment just because it's extremely popular. That does have a fixed supply. But both of them are meme coins, and but because of that capability that Shiba does have, they're creating a metaverse. I mean, don't forget they were in the top 10 for a while there. There was even more, and there still is billions of dollars in Shiba. I mean, things can happen whenever there's that much money. So they're trying to create use cases. They're trying to create a metaverse. You know, they have the bone token, the leash token. You got to hold one to stake and gain the other. But to buy the land, you had to buy it in Ethereum. And so a lot of people are like, what? That just goes to show you that Shiba's trash. There's a lot of reasons why you can discuss Shiba's trash level, you know, whether it be here, here, here. But this isn't going to be an indicator, because one of the best games, one of the best blockchain games, if not the best blockchain game, Thetan Arena. I had to buy everything in BNB just a few months ago when I started playing, and now you buy everything in the token. You buy. There's nothing you can buy on the site with BNB, and so that's actually just goes with development. You take a more basic token that you can use to build with, and then as it develops, then you build the more in-game, in-ecosystem, in-metaverse economy that uses the coins you want. And one of the benefits on building on Ethereum, like Shiba did, is that you can take Ethereum while you're developing it, and so on and so forth. Now, this is not a pro Shiba video. I'm not investing in Shiba. If I was going to invest in a meme coin right now, the ones I like are Kata, the pet of Solana, and Elon, just because it's a lower market cap. And I mean, when you buy Doge, you're basically buying Elon anyway. You know, Elon Musk, the man. And you know, like Justin's son, he has a token called Justin and a token called Sun. And so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Elon's like, hey, I got an Elon token, and that do another rise. And so but yeah, I'm not investing anything in Shiba or Doge at this point. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to go off. I mean, Elon does have weird stuff going on with Doge. I already told you Shiba has some stuff. So nothing I say is financial advice. Okay, so that was my take. That's point number 3, the Shiba metaverse and how we shouldn't hate. There's reasons to hate Shiba, but it's not that they're, for the time being, using Ethereum to buy land in their metaverse. It can't be more normal than that. Now let's continue on. That was 1, that was 2, that was 3. So how about we go to 4? Now 4 is going to be out about Crypto.com. And this story just broke last night. And so Crypto.com has teamed up with MIT for years. And they've done this before with other universities, including the University of Singapore. And and I couldn't find any information on like how much money they're going to give exactly. I checked a few different places, few articles. But it has to be some type of money, because Crypto.com gave a statement saying, the gift is designed to support continuing research efforts into stability of fee-based rewards and software to provide strong robustness and correctness guarantees. I don't know if I would have written it that way, robustness and correctness guarantees. I think they could have much more easily and correctly just put software to provide strong, robust, and correct guarantees. But hey, I did apply to BitBoy to be a writer on there. So if you're watching this, BitBoy, hey, BitBoy, look at that. I just noticed that. I would have written it better. Also, side note, when I was doing my HBAR video yesterday, I noticed there was a job adjacent to HBAR. I applied for that too. So I am applying to anything crypto. I want to get in the crypto space. I want to stay in the crypto space. So hire me. Hire me and you won't regret it. Now let's continue on here. So yeah, that was a pretty quick thing with Crypto.com too. But whenever you have Crypto.com, it really just throws its its money around. It seems like it's going into research, it's going into marketing, it has its whole NFT platform, it's investing in itself. And so I like crypto.com. It's a great place for people in the United States to get access to more exotic cryptos. Things I don't like about it are like the fact that it only shows you 6 months in the past. Whenever you go to it, it doesn't give you like the whole year or, all time timeline for the cryptos. It also doesn't give you the candles, and it also charges you, $2.99 for every or almost 3% off any purchase you make with a card. And so there are definitely some big problems. You also can't do limit orders, and so a lot of big problems with crypto.com, but they have other things on point. Using that card, I have been getting free Spotify 4 months now, for several months. I did buy in on the card at 18 cents quite a while ago, so I've got that Ruby card. And hopefully throughout the course of this channel, I can tell you, now I got the Indigo card, now I got the Emerald card, and we can grow together. Great things can happen on this channel. Okay, so I'm going to go into the final thing now, which is, this was the most fascinating article that I've read in a while, and I'm not kidding. This was a fascinating article. All of the resources and articles that I use to get this information will be in the description. And now let me tell you about this one. I'm actually going to read off the name of the article. So it's the Washington Post. I am not a fan of the mainstream media at all, whether it be print or radio or TV, but the main goal is finding accurate information. It's not to buck the system. It's not to buck the mainstream media. It's to decipher what's real and what's not real and provide the most accurate information, to have the most accurate knowledge in your head so you can make the most informed decisions in life, whether it be crypto, voting, whatever else, life decisions. If you don't know, then you don't know. And so it's better to know so you can make the best decisions. And so let's continue back on to this article. And so it's titled, U.S. hasn't stopped North Korean gang from laundering its crypto haul. And so I started reading this article and I was like, okay, it's going to be, just a quick little thing about North Korea. I mean, so if you didn't know, North Korea hacked Axie Infinity, and they did take, let's see, how many millions? $600 million worth of Axie at the time was stolen. Axie Infinity is a video game. It's a proof of concept video game, aka also known as a blue chip gaming currency, because it was the first gaming token, an ecosystem that proved that play to earn can work, and it built a functioning economy. And so it took off with active users. It's kind of a Pokemon-like game. And so, I'm sorry if I rolled my eyes there, but God, just all these Pokemon-like games in blockchain. Oof. We got like Polka Starter. We got, that was on Coinbase. There's like Polka something where you get these little creatures and they breed in battle. Axie Infinity, the exact same thing. Illuvium, the exact same thing. So we'll have to see if copying Pokemon's exact game plan is going to be sustainable for multiple companies. I doubt it. Maybe one, or maybe Pokemon will just be like, hey, we're going to do our own metaverse and just take all 100% of all of their market cap. And so we'll just have to wait and see. And so that's a little bit of a background on Axie and just a basic aspect of the hack. And we were all surprised it was North Korea that hacked it because it's a government, but they did. And, the article goes on to explain, there's a lot of, still shows that there are issues in cryptocurrency, that it can be exploited. Now, one thing I wasn't aware of, apparently there's this group is a known hacking group. And what were they called? I have it here. And these are my notes, so I'm just going to read them off. This is not directly from the article, so this is still original content. So the cyber criminals, continue to access the money. More than 600 million was stolen from Axie Infinity's video game, and it underscores the limits of law enforcement's ability to stop the flow of illicit cryptocurrency across the globe. The hackers are still moving the stolen crypto. Most recently, about 4.5 million worth of the Ethereum currency on Friday was moved, and so that's the kind of basis of the article. Just recently, 4.5 million worth is still being moved, still being taken. And that's according to the cryptocurrency tracking site Etherscan. It's another cool tool, important to be used by regular people and governments alike. And that was 8 days after the Treasury Department attempted to freeze those assets sanctioned by the digital wallet and that the group used in the attack. And so, yeah, the group is called Lazarus Group. Lazarus. Lazarus Group. Are a bunch of extreme cyber criminals that have targeted us multiple times. That's why I'm going to go into this next part, because this article was not all about Axie. It had more about this Lazarus Group. It went into some more information that I wasn't aware of. And so apparently, the crypto So the United States, we took those steps to try to freeze those assets, but were unsuccessful. And so here's a situation that also was described in this. So we also leveled, the Treasury Department also leveled sanctions against the Russian crypto mining firm. So while they didn't, exactly attack crypto in Russia in any way, they did attack a crypto mining company firm called BitRiver and 10 of its subsidiaries on this past Wednesday. This past Wednesday was the 20th of April. And so the Biden administration, is committed, or they say is committed to ensuring that no asset, no matter how complex, becomes a mechanism for Putin and the regime to offset the impact of sanctions. So while there were some crypto exchanges that did not comply and refused to freeze all of the assets of crypto holders in Russia, the United States did attack some of their mining firms, which I don't have a problem with that in the context of all this, the war and the sanctions and everything. But hopefully, as I've said many times before, the whole world can end up following Russia. Putin could come out of this a leader, a global leader. He could somehow turn into a global beloved leader if he pulls out, basically apologizes, goes over the reasons that he did it in the first place, saying we had this, old agreement, and who cares what the Ukrainians say, because we made this agreement so long ago, and so they belong to us. Things like that. You just, I'm pulling out. The reason I did it was because of this, and now going forward, Bitcoin is going to be what we accept for energy from all friendly nations, and hopefully that could spark this crypto revolution. That would spark this crypto revolution, because that would basically mean Russia's abandoning the ruble and creating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as its main trading currency, and I wouldn't count on that one. I wouldn't count on that one. But how great would that be? Now, the markets would turn around. Everything would be so pro Bitcoin. The ETF would probably get approved over the next weekend. But hey, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. That's the whole point of this channel, that we're going to get there. We're going to bring people together with crypto. All of these impossible solutions have to be answered somehow. And I think crypto, we got all the brightest minds here. We all want the economy to do well, and democracy and economy go hand in hand, because everybody likes to flourish. Everyone likes to flourish, and so if you can link flourishing to other people flourishing, then we can all flourish. And so those are my 5 things. So let's do a quick, what I bought, what I sold. So looking at the prices right now, I probably should have sold everything, but no. So what I did buy was some ZRX, aka Ox, because I read an article on Coinbase saying that they were going to use Ox for their NFT platform. So I didn't put a bunch in it, but I had some Algorand and I swapped that out for Ox on Coinbase. I also bought a little bit of Moonbeam, a little bit of Rose, Oasis, and always, the only one I always buy is just throw in a little Cardano, like $50 of Cardano. Threw that into the whole staking pool I got on Kraken. I also bought I sold a tiny bit of Jasmine, just because how many times do I have to say on this channel, take profits, take profits, take profits. So whenever it went up, 70%, I took a little bit of profits. Now I do think Jasmine has a long way to go, in a good way. I think it has a lot of room to grow. Long way to go, a lot of room to grow. So this show is called Crypto, Smart Contact Crypto. Okay, that's enough of the rapping there. Hopefully I still have some viewers. Indeed. So I also bought a couple. I actually just signed up for the FTX platform, and I moved some Solana that I had on Coinbase Pro to FTX, and I used that to buy some Solana NFTs. I'm not huge on flipping NFTs. I have not been greatly successful. I made a tiny bit of money off the Cardano NFTs, the C NFTs, the camels, the Camel Club. They're my favorites. I am dying to do a video on the Camel Club, just like I'm dying to do a video on Thetan Arena. These are 2 things that I kind of love and spend time caring about that I haven't done any videos on, but those are coming soon. Speaking of which, I did also buy a Thetan Arena NFT that I actually use, because they were selling them with coins. Normally the legendary characters can only be bought with gems. And so I bought some coins. I bought an NFT. Most of the coins I earned through the game. It's a very cool game. I've earned hundreds of dollars playing it. There'll be a video. And so yeah. The market's crashed since I bought all those, and none of them are higher than they were. Some of my limit orders to buy Moonbeam, though, did go through. I had $100 to where if it went below 350, and then if it went below 325, and so both of those went through. And at this point, I'm just waiting to see how low it goes. I do think we're going to be coming back up, though. I don't have much more money to invest at all, because I don't have a lot of money, because I haven't made it yet in crypto. We're going to all do it together. It's going to bring the world together. And I appreciate my viewers so much. This is a community driven channel. So this can get more views, so this can get more likes, so this can grow. Please hit the subscribe button, ding the little bell. My prediction is that we are going to break down to the 37,000 range. I don't think it's going to stay at 38. It's possible that it was a tiny little fake out. We were actually going to go below 39, and then it's going to take off. I think we're going to go to 37, maybe. But it could always go lower. Never underestimate the ability of it going lower. And so I do believe there will be a bounce off of 37. There's a lot of support at 37, and the rest of the market tends to follow Bitcoin, the most established and first cryptocurrency, aka King Bitcoin. And so that is going to do it today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. All you lovers and all you loners, equally have the most beautiful and best night of your life. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again very soon.